Hey everyone, welcome to the AMA number 4. All right, woo! Let's hear it. Um, let's see here. Trying to see if there's any notifications here. Yep, there it is. So we're live. And I have an echo here. Hold on. Mute. And where's the chat? Top chat, live chat. Perfect. Okay, we're all set. Well, welcome to this this AMA number 4. Today we're gonna be trying a little bit of live coding, and going to be trying out this kind of like a new experiment. I wouldn't say that every AMA is gonna be like that. Let me put the mic here. But you know, I wanted to try out and see if you guys liked maybe doing some live coding. I see there's 2 people watching, and hopefully that will increase as time goes by. And welcome to the people that are joining, and please you know, don't be a stranger, say hi, and tell us, like, you know, where you're coming in from, if you've taken my courses, where you've taken them, like anything that that will help me recognize. And then of course, ask your questions. As usual, you can tweet at me at FromZero.edu with the hashtag #AskFromZero before the show, or during the show. It's going to be through the chat. So hi, Luis. Luis, my brother, is here. Also, Eric. Eric Milliot. Hi, he's in Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And like I said in the, I don't know if you saw the promo video or read the email, but I wanted to, you know, see if you have any ideas on what you would like to see on the AMAs, or if you want to change the time and date. I know Friday, you know, in GMT time, like in Europe, it's 5 p.m. So it's kind of like a good time. But here in the States, it's like 12 p.m. and it's even earlier in the West Coast. So if you'd rather, you know, do it another time, then definitely I'm open to hear suggestions. So let me know what you guys want to do. Let me know if you're hearing me all right. I'm putting the microphone a little bit far from me because I want to be able to type and draw a little bit for you guys. So the one thing I'll be trying to do in this session, and I actually need this for the educational platform that my brother Luis and I are building, and it's a redirect service. So basically, when you're linking from other, like, you know, websites, and maybe from YouTube, from a Twitter link, or somewhere else, you sometimes want to track that person and make sure to send them, you know, on the right to the right URL, but mostly track them. So for example, right now in my YouTube videos, I have a link to my Udemy courses, and you know, the link is straight up udemy.com/Python Flask course. I think it's the name, and then !, coupon code equals, you know, YT, I think, or you know, something like about YouTube. And the people that land on the Udemy site, then they get that discount, and it's all good. But I don't have an idea of how many people clicked. If they buy the course, I know, because that that is a conversion that happens there. But if you're doing this during the if you do this and people don't buy it, like if people click on the link and they didn't buy it, I don't know how many people clicked, and I don't know how many people were kind of like looking at the course before buying it. And that's a good, like, it's a good measure of how good the landing page that you're sending guys to is, because there's what's called the conversion rate. And yes, you can track a little bit of that using Google Analytics, and you could also use some shortener like Google, like GOO.gl. But my main thing is, like, I would like to change the URL at some point. So for example, when I launch my own platform, I might not want to send them to Udemy. I might send them might want to send them to my own site. So Google, like the shortener GOO.gl, doesn't allow you to change a URL after it's printed. And so I wanted to have like a little bit of more freedom to be able to update that URL. And Eric is saying that he's good with this time because he's at lunch and work. Oh, cool. Hope you're having a good lunch. And all right, so that's more or less the idea I have with this tracker. So let's do a little bit of drawing. I want to like show you what I want to do here. So the idea with this application would be a Flask application, of course, and the idea would be that we have some sort of subdomain. So I might set up that in this AMA, or I might do it in a second part. But I want to do something like R. That's so R dot from .0.io, and then slash let's say Flask dash YouTube, or some code, Flask dash YT. And then what happens is people go to this r.fromzero.io, which is the redirect service, and when they come in, I want to be able to, on the application, I want to be able to say, okay, what's the IP address of this user? What is his refer, like what site he's coming from? Get the code, the Flask well, actually, let me we would call this the code, which in this case would be Flask dash YT, and finally grab from a database right here, grab what Flask YT is going to be redirected to. So Flask YT, there's a lookup, and we kind of send them to like a full URL, http udemy.com / Flask course or whatever. So that's the idea there. And I'm also going to store the IP, the ref, the code in the database alongside with a timestamp. And then, afterwards, I can potentially do analytics, do a little, get some graphing library, and then kind of like see, how many people are clicking on it, etc. And then I can do an analysis of if people bought the course, I could potentially, say let's say in this day, there were 35 people that clicked on the link and 5 bought the course. I know this from the Udemy sales, and I will know from my own system. So I'll have it's kind of like a conversion rate of, that would be about 12%, say 12% conversion rate. So that's the goal. Okay. So let's try doing that. So I'm going to, well, the first thing I need to do is create let me create the directory where I'm going to be doing this thing. So I have a very good sorry, I have a very good not Kickstarter, like boilerplate. So if you go to GitHub FromZero edu, oops, that's not it. FromZero edu. Then if you go to repositories, you'll see that we have here one called Flask MySQL Boilerplate. Now these boilerplates are they are a quick way to kickstart some project with Flask that are not, so you don't have to write it from scratch. And in this case, it's a counter application, and that's, you might recognize this from the courses. But it's a quick way to set up all what you need to do to get that application up and running if it's going to use MySQL. And I have another one for Postgres, and I have another one for MongoDB. So whenever you want to start an application and it runs in any of those databases, you can fork this and then use it on your own application. You don't have to start from scratch. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna download this. You normally would fork it. I just don't have the whatchamacallit. I don't have a personal username here that I could use as an example, because I'm the owner of this, so I can basically just download this. But I'm gonna create, in this case, instead of forking it like you would fork it, I'm gonna create a new repository. But I haven't tried this. Let's see if I can fork that on my own, because I want you guys to also like get the repository for what we do today. So let's see here. I'm getting the password from 1Password. So FromZero edu, sign in. Okay, let's see if I can fork it on my own. Yeah, I don't think I can do forks on my own repository. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone it, and then I'm going to call it something else. But before I do that, I need to add my own key. .ssh dot. Perfect. So now I'm from 0. So I'm gonna do clone or download, copy here. And then git clone this, but I'm gonna make it another repository called what was the name I was gonna RefTrack. So RefTrack. So now I'm on RefTrack. Now the thing is, like, I want to create a new repository with this, so I'm gonna just like delete the git repository, and that way we're starting from scratch. And then I will do git init, and we're starting from scratch here. And we are going to have, well, I need to config. And if anybody joined, please say hi on the chat. I see that there's more people here. And if you're catching us a little bit later, we're building a a tracking redirect system in Flask, so that we can track where people are coming from and sending them to a new URL, but kind of like track that that activity. So we have that, and well, I'll create the repository later for this. I don't want to spend too much time on that, and we already have 19 minutes in here. Okay, so what does this look like? I opened Atom, but I think I have to set it up so that you guys can see it. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I need to share the Atom window. Atom RefTrack. There you go. Okay. I think you guys can see it now. Yes. Okay. So now I essentially have a bunch of files. So the ones you're interested in is going to be application PY, because that's going to be, you know, what your settings are for the application. And like I said, this boilerplate is kind of like a counter application. So, but we're not going to do a counter here. So I can rename this to, let's just call this the RefTrack app. Now we wanna wait. And one thing you'll notice here is we have also Docker ready to go. So if we wanted to use Docker, I'm just gonna use local MySQL because that's a little bit faster. And I don't know, Docker still has some networking issues that I hope they figure out someday. But it's still kind of like hanging up for me at least. All right, so we said that we were gonna have, and I wanna pull the drawing again. We're gonna have an IP, a reference, a code, and a timestamp. So let's put those in here. So there's gonna be an ID for sure. So let's call this the redirect table. I guess this would be the redirect log. So this is what I'm thinking. We're gonna have this, the URL where people go to. It's gonna be one table. So that table is gonna be called the redirect. So that table is gonna have an ID. It's gonna have a URL. And I don't know what else you guys think. We could have a name, so that we have an idea of what a name or a description, so that we know what that URL that we're sending people to exactly is or means. And then this table here that logs the IP, ref, code, and timestamp, that I'm going to call this the redirect log. Redirect log. Okay. So does that make sense, everybody? Cool. Yes. Okay. So redirect log is going to have an ID, and we're going to do IP, ref, code, and timestamp. So IP refer, and timestamp. So these are strings, and timestamp is a datetime, right? So let me check one quick second. I'm checking the field like format. So, and we have to make sure that we're we add indexes to the ones that need index, right? So an IP, I believe an IP is always a set number of characters. So we don't need like 256. So I'm gonna look up length of IP field, and I think MySQL has an IP field, as a matter of fact. IP, oh, so it depends if it's IPv4 or IPv. I think there's another one called IPv16. So see, there's an Stack Overflow, and it says for IPv4 you could get away. IPv6 is 128 bits. They are written as 8 groups of 4 hex digits, 39 characters. So the correct maximum IPv6 is 45. Okay, so let's use 45. And just in case, let's do a little bit more. In MySQL, it's good to use like a more or less a good length of the string, because that uses this space. So let's do 64 and call it a day. Now, do I want to index that? Like you have to think about indexing if you want to do searches or grouping or things like that. So I think IP is probably gonna be indexed, because we won't want to say from this IP what were the hits or whatever the case might be. So I'm gonna index that. Refer is the URL where people are coming from. So, and a URL could be long, so I'm gonna just say 250. Let's see. A URL. I know there's some issues with indexing if the field is too long, but like a URL could be really long. So I'm just gonna say 255 here, and then the timestamp is a datetime. So we're gonna call this a timestamp, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna index this as well, because we might want to do like reports on like, oh, on this date, how many people clicked, etc. Right? So the init, I need to put the fields that I'm using there. So I need to do IP, refer, and timestamp. So I'm going to say self IP equals IP. Self refer is the refer. And oops, there's a typo there. And self timestamp equals timestamp. And I'm going to do this to be default to the datetime now. Now, if you've done my courses, you know that I always recommend that you use UTC now. So, because everything should not be should not be on your time zone, right? Everything should be normalized to and usually we use the GMT, so that we don't have, if we want to translate that to other time zones, then we can calculate that afterwards. But it's better to always use the UTC as the right time. So I believe this would be datetime dot UTC now. And then to represent one of these fields, it would be, I would call it redirect log and self, I would just say self ID. Because it's because I I don't want to call this by anything. The redirect one might have something else. Oh, so this is, wait, let me think. Do we need to change to foreign key redirect log to redirect? No, I don't think so. IP refer. Oh, we're missing the code, dude. Come on. So refer is this, and the code is whatever they put after the domain. So this is gonna be DB. I'm gonna say also 64 for this one, and I'm also gonna index it because I may wanna see like, oh, this code, how many people clicked on it and stuff. So refer code, and then let's do self.code equals code. Awesome. So now we're gonna do more or less the same thing, but we're gonna use the redirect. So redirect is the table where we're gonna send people to. So we're gonna say we need ID, we need the URL. So that would be more similar to refer. So let's use refer URL. And then we said a description or a name. Let's say description. So now here we have URL and description. They're both required fields. And here we can do redirect and call it the description, although that could be a little bit long. So I'll just put the self ID. That's fine. Okay, so now, well, we won't have any tests yet, so we can just ignore that for now. And then the views, let's call this, okay, so first we need RefTrack models, import, what's the redirect, and redirect log. And we're gonna call this the RefTrack app, RefTrack app. And here it's RefTrack app route. Right, and we know that we're always gonna have here the code, right? So we can do this code. Oops. Code. And then code here. Okay, so for now, let's just return some dummy text so that we know that we're in the right on the right path. So let's say RefTrack coming. So let's save that. All right, so we have more or less a bit of the application. I'm not going to do anything on the Docker Compose yet. I might do it for when I upload the code base so that you can run it on a Docker container. These are the Endbar. So we need, as you know from my courses, the settings PY that I use now is not like hard coded in there. I'm using the environment variable. So I keep track of the environment variables that I use on this Endbars file, but please be aware that setting environment variables for Windows and Mac is a little bit different. And I'm going to, I know I'm writing about this. I don't know if in the new course I'm writing this, how to do envars, but that's a good idea to do a short course on. So I'm gonna write that down really quickly on Trello because this is very important. Let's see here. How to do envars in Windows and Mac. Yeah. But in any case, you need to make sure that you track the envars in this file, and then you have to put them on your whatever you use. Like if it's a Mac, it's on the bash profile. It's in the Windows. You need to like search for the Windows environment. There's like a little dialog on Windows 10 where you can look that up. But I'm gonna do a separate course. I mean, separate YouTube video so that you guys have that. But in any case, I'm doing it on a Mac, so I just need to put these things on the bash profile. So I use a dummy secret key. Debug equals true. The root password is root pass, and I'm going to use, the user is going to be the RefTrack user. And the password is going to be RefTrack password. Of course, you're going to use something else in your application. And then DBHost is localhost for the dev machine, but when you put this on production, then it should be the MySQL thing. And then I'm going to call this RefTrack. Okay. So far, so good. I see more people coming in. Please say hi. Tell me where you're from and how you got here. If you're a Udemy student or from other courses, love to get to know you all. All right, so we have the envars. Now the settings PY, let's see if that's good. So debug, DB username, password, MySQL root password, DB host, database name, the URI, SQL icon. Okay, so that all you can leave as is. But the one thing that we definitely need to have is the envars. So we're gonna copy this and I'm going to put it in my bash profile. So bash profile is where you have your environment variables. Oh, I have it already here. So now, if you use WorkOn, and that's another one that I should make a little course on. WorkOn, it's an awesome like virtual env manager that allows you to set envars on a per virtual env like setting. So if you put WorkOn, let's say RefTrack, it loads the environment variables for you, so you don't have to be doing this thing that I'm doing now. So I'm typing that as a reminder to also do that. I have a lot of courses to do for you guys, it looks like. Okay, so back on this, so we have our envars, and now I need to exit the well, I can do source. So if you do source bash profile, it kind of like runs that. So let's see. And here I'm gonna see if the environment variables were set. So as you can see, DB username is now there, root password, debug equals true. So that all looks good. DBHost. Yeah, DB password. Okay, so that's all set. Perfect. Okay, so the time has come for us to create the virtual env. So, shoot, I don't remember if I have MySQL here. I think I do. Yeah, I have it, but I haven't. I need to start it. So, let me check. If I have a password here. Okay, so I just do MySQL Server start. Perfect, I have MySQL now running. Hey Stony, so Stony's asking a question. Are you going to add a git ignore to ensure that no keys are exposed in a git repo? That no keys are exposed on a git repo. Oh, so the envars is not like, I never store like in the actual like passwords, right? I only use dummy passwords. That's why you do it on an envars file and you do it as an environment variable, because then when you push to production, you then edit the environment variables for that server manually on the, if you're using Ubuntu, you can do cat or vi /etc/environment, and you'll see all the environment variables that you put there. So you would copy and paste this and kind of like put it on your actual production server, and not these same ones here. So these are just for test. Have you tried using GitLab instead of GitHub, where there are continuous integration features? I have imported GitHub repositories, but I have not used GitLab much yet. I haven't used GitLab. For CI, I've normally used Jenkins, and there's a new one called CodeShip, I think it's called. That I'll also make a note to do a little bit of a short course on that. On, I think it's called CodeShip, or I'll remember the name and I'll let you guys know. But it's a very good, like, it has a very nice UI, and it's kind of like easy for people that are starting out. Okay, so never ever put the real. This is a very good point that Stony is doing, is mentioning. Don't put the real like username password here. You're putting this on your GitHub repo, so you're gonna have this on your repo, even if it's a private repo. I never put the real username, password, or credentials in any way, shape, or form on the repository. So very good point. Thanks, Tony. Okay, so now we're gonna do our virtual env. So virtual env -p python 3 venv. Okay, so now we have our virtual env. As you can see, there's already a git ignore file here that already takes care of that. If you call your virtual env something else, then you have to add it on your git ignore. But as you can see here, I have a kind of like venv there. Okay, so I think we can close this. Views, models, and application. I think we're good with that. So let's see here. It's taking some time. Okay, perfect. So now we have our virtual env. So now source vemb bin activate. Okay. Now we're gonna do pip install -r requirements txt. And we didn't open the requirements, but it's so this is what I did here. I have the kind of like the main libraries here commented out, and then I copied and pasted a full pip freeze, right? Because this is a problem I've been having with the courses. You know, I have the libraries here with the version numbers, but sometimes there's like ancillary libraries that are related. So for example, let's say I have you know, Flask SQL Alchemy, for example, and I do put like 232, but Flask SQL Alchemy may have as a dependency Python date util, and they would like update or upgrade that library, and then things on the courses were breaking up. So now I'm following this kind of like this format where I have the base packages commented out. I do a you know, every once in a while I do a pip install of this guys here, and then look at all the libraries that install, because I know that at that moment of time everything is working together nicely. Then I do a pip freeze and actually export all that. So as of today, those versions of all those libraries were kosher. We're working well. Okay, so let's see here. Still installing. And hi everyone who has arrived. We're writing a referral tracking system called RefTrack with the amazing Python Flask library. Okay, so we're done there. So now what do we do here? We need to get the database up and running. So we have manager here. So as you can see here, we have the DB commands and run server, all that. But let's do a run server first. See that everything is kind of like running. So I do Python manage py run server. No model name counter. Yes, of course, because I need to edit the application, and now I have to from RefTrack. I was reading a comment that Stone is saying there is a clone of the Flask API named Quart, which enables async. It can really speed things up when there are blocking IO calls. Well, check it out, Quart. Let's see. Quart Flask library. Quart. An Async IO implementation of Flask. Oh, wow. This is nice. I have to check this out. So it's using the async keyword that's new in Python 3. And then it can, wow, this is really big. Thanks so much, Stony. Now I need to check that out. Yeah, need to check that out for sure. And if I if I find things that are interesting, I'll definitely do a mini course on that. So check out Quart, a fork of Flask with Async IO. This is really cool. Thanks for that. Okay. So let's see, where were we? We had an issue here that said no more. Oh yeah, we were editing this. So it's RefTrack app views, import RefTrack app, right? And then register the blueprint, RefTrack app. Okay. So let's try running this. No module named RefTrack app. From RefTrack app use. Oh, there's a typo here. RefTrack. Oh, so it's RefTrack, not RefTrack. So RefTrack. Okay, sorry. Let's do this again. Application PY from RefTrack. There you go. So now let's try running again. Of course, there's no RefTrack models. There's RefTrack. Sorry guys, RefTrack app models. Come on. I need my coffee. RefTrack. Oh my god. From RefTrack. Wait, which one is it? Oh, register blueprint. I guess that's a tricky name, RefTrack. Okay, now we have the thing running. So localhost 5000. It says the URL wasn't found. Let's see here. Oh, because I have /code. So I have to put /code. So let's say Flask YT. There you go. So now let's print out the code here. And by the way, I love this new feature on 3.6, Python 3.6. The new course I'm doing. So right now I'm doing the new Flask intro to Flask, but I'm doing the Python course first, and I'm gonna launch it as a separate course. And it's about 3.6. And 3.6 has a couple of nice things. One of them is this F thing that it's like the format that you had the percentage, but now you can do it inline on the on the string. So you can do like something like this. So for example, you use you use something like this, and you can put you can put Python code in there. You can do like a multiplication, like you can do anything, and you can actually print out the variable like that, which is kind of like similar to like Jinja templates and some other JavaScript templates as well. So I really like that. And Stone is asking, have you used the teletype collaboration feature in Atom? Yes. Definitely, me and my brother Luis have used it, and Luis is responding. And it's really nice. It's this little thing in here where you kind of like you create a portal, and then this URL or this code, you give it to somebody else, and then you can start like pair coding with somebody that you want, or I think it works even with like multiple people, but normally it's for pair coding. So you give it to another developer and you start kind of like working in tandem. So it's pretty cool. I love it. I really love that. And I don't know, Stoney, do you know if they VS Code has something like this? If you used it, VS Code, by the way, I hear only good things. I haven't tried it because I'm kind of like a stickler with code editors. I was for years. I was a Sublime fanatic, and I'm talking years and years. And then I switched to Atom about maybe 3 years ago, and I just don't want to like learn another new code editor. But VS Code, that's from Microsoft, so it's already kind of like I have a little bit of grain of salt, but I've heard only good things, and Microsoft, of course, as you all know, is opening up its gates to all developers, and I really like what they're doing. I actually like Windows 10 a lot. But so this, now you can use this kind of thing on the strings, which is really nice. So now if I do reload here, see how it prints out the code. Oh, I love F. I love that F thing. So, oops, wrong window. All right, so I think it's time for us to create the database. So let's stop the server here, and we're gonna do Python manage py db. Wait, so let's see. We have to create the database first. So use MySQL, you root, and then your password. So if we see the databases here, I'm going to create a database called create database RefTrack, we called it, right? Where's the invars? DB RefTrack. I'm going to copy and paste just in case I do a typo there. So now if I do show databases, RefTrack is there. Okay. So now I need to allow the user to use this database. So we're gonna do that by doing the following. So I have copied and pasted let me break this window next to this so we have to do create user, but of course you have to replace this with your own thing. So we're gonna say again, I'm gonna copy from the invars RefTrack user, add localhost, identify by, and then we put the password. Perfect. And now we need to grant all privileges to that user so that he can access that database. And why do we do this? Well, because we want to have like each database has its own user, but that user cannot go and do stuff in other databases. So this is just like it's common sense, right? So I'm gonna do the RefTrack here. So grant all privileges on RefTrack.star, that means all the tables, to the RefTrack user. Okay, and then we do flush privileges so that those settings take into you know, kind of like are loaded on the MySQL table. Stony saying VS Code has collaborative coding features, but I have not used it yet. Using VS Code for programming Golang, I always want VI key bindings in editors and use them both in Atom and VS Code editors. Yeah, that makes sense. If you've done VI, that makes total sense. Now we're gonna try logging in with that username and password to make sure that we have access. So MySQL user, RefTrack user, password is RefTrack password. Perfect. So if I do show databases, well, I'm probably gonna see them all, but I can, oh no, I see only the ones that I have access to. So perfect. And then if I use RefTrack, then I'm able to see the tables, which we don't have any yet. So for that, we need to do an upgrade. Well, so first we have to do the migration, right? So that way all the table like structures are created. So I'm gonna do Python manage py. This is the part where Luis is always shaking a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to break the database. So let's do db migrate. Okay, we need to, oh, I need to do init first. That's right. That's why it's important to read the error messages. So db init, people. Let me clear the screen because I don't want to see that ugly error staring at me. Oh God, it's always so. Okay, we have migrations. Now, this is something that I want to tell you guys about, which is on my git ignore, I have, well, I don't have migrations here. I used to have migrations here, but lately I've been kind of like adding or letting this, adding the migrations on the actual code base, because I think it's useful for other developers when you do changes to like just pull up the migrations and apply them. Some people are gonna say, "Oh, that's so stupid." Of course, that's the use case. I was kind of like, I don't want to put migrations there, but now I totally see why we should have them. So, okay, so we have our init. Now we do db migrate, which creates the files. Oh, perfect. Access denied for user RefTrack user at 172. Okay. $172, I guess. Do I have the MySQL? Maybe I don't have the MySQL host. Yeah, DBHost I'm missing from the Endbars. So let's see what DBHost is. DBHost is localhost. No, so that's proper. DB username. $3306. That's very strange. So let's see the error here. Access denied for user RefTrack user at 172. This is where I'm confused. Where is that coming from? It's not the Docker file because I'm not using that. The host is MySQL here, but DBHost. That's very strange. Let's see if we can print out the settings in here. So how will I do that? I guess I'll put a PDB here and run the application. So let's say from settings, import star DBHost. It's localhost. What's the other one? DB username, DB password. DB URI. Yep, this is really strange. Because I don't know why it's saying that it cannot. The access is denied for user RefTrack user at 172. So I'm guessing this is my own machine's IP. So it's not coming from localhost. So let's try something. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add another user here called I mean the same user, but I'm gonna allow it to connect from anywhere. So you do this by doing so let's put the password. So you can do, instead of localhost, you can do star. No, percent. Sorry, percent. And we're gonna have RefTrack user. So that means from anywhere, from any host. And we need to do the grant all privileges. And we do the same thing. So add star, I mean percent. Yeah. Stone is saying that's not a loopback address. 172 is a public IP. I don't know where that is coming from, that IP. But I definitely will check it out and see what's going on. Oops. So RefTrack user. Tony says, I always forget all of the database commands and have to look them up or look at a passcode example. That's me too. I have like a little note thing so that I can always remember. So what's the database? RefTrack. And then let's do flush privileges. And let's give that a try. Migrate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm really confused here because it should be connecting to localhost and it's saying that it's coming from 172. So I guess we'll continue this on another session. I'm already a little bit past the hour, but I'll investigate and let you guys know what I find out. So we'll continue this one on the next AMA next Friday. I'm sorry that we didn't kind of like advance a little bit more here, but let me figure this out, what's going on, and it'll be a good thing to figure this out so that you guys, if you run on the run on this kind of error, you can like know what the solution is. Thanks, Eric. He's saying that he has to get back to work. Yeah, I definitely understand. So we'll pick this up next week. I promise to figure what's going on, and then we'll continue with the application. All right. Thank you very much for attending, and see you next week.